They taught you how to relax wrong. They taught you how to remove your intrusive thoughts wrong. Because I have anger issues. But I was not born like this. Losing your temper, contrary to popular belief, is not a sign of weakness. It's perfectly justifiable, but it's bad for your personal health and goals. I was always calm and collective, but life circumstances made me develop insane aggressiveness from trauma and pain and injustice. Past experiences that over the years progressively got worse until they fully developed into fury issues, despite even seeking for help and going to therapy. I say fury issues because at times, after facing an incredible, fucking annoying injustice and not seeing a solution on sight, I will get so mad, like so incredibly fucking mad that you cannot even imagine, and I will literally start breaking things. Don't worry, small stuff like a pencil or a piece of paper, yes, you can trust me, don't worry, I'm not that crazy. But I will get so mad to the point of being unsettling. If you lose your temper every day and it's destroying your life, stop listening to anyone online. Their advice doesn't work. It's the same advice that I used to follow for years, and after seeing how ineffective it was, it contributed to increase my anger even more. So I encourage you to not repeat my mistakes or the mistakes of others, or you will repeat every single mistake yourself. The classic self-improvement or masculinity advice comes from people with so much privileges who, without saying any names, do not actually understand your issue because they did not went through it. They did not live through it. People born with privileges consider as problems what for you has always been easy, right? The rich kid considers a problem that his friend owns a Ferrari and he owns a BMW. If you know someone similar in your life, and I'm sure you know that these people don't know what struggle is because they always had everything prepared for them from the start, from their parents. Like fitness influencers who started posting at 16, and you can clearly see on their videos that they already have a Mercedes from mommy and daddy, right? That's why when you see someone very young, usually between 18 to 25 years old, or maybe even 21, with a lot of resources and money, their advice is automatically fucking bullshit. If they already had everything at 21 years old, it means that they did not suffer enough to teach the lessons, to teach the facts and the details that will lead you to improve from the lesson. Listen, you can't delete any trauma, regret, or injustice that has happened in your life and solve your anger issues. These are simple steps available for everybody, regardless of your background, ethnicity, or location, that will make the problems that caused your anger to rise irrelevant, and then, after a few days or a few weeks maximum, completely die and disappear. I came to these discoveries myself, even after raging very recently to the point of breaking a chair out of fury and desperation. Please, dude, believe me, I'm a very kind and collective person, but, you know, trauma sucks. I came to the realization that raging heavily not only is counterproductive, even if it's right and justifiable, and forgiveness for the situations or the people who wronged you cannot be applied, but because the only person who ends up suffering is yourself, and unfortunately the only people who are available to vent on, which are your parents. They get emotionally destroyed each time by sharing your misfortunes. Also, I came to the realization that I don't want to suffer. I want to live well. Trust me, I suffered through a lot in my life, and as Jordan Peterson said, avoid unnecessary pain. The human body works in a way that after going through an injustice or a breakup or some sort of pain that might last for weeks or months, activates a defense mechanism that reinforces what happened. The human mind will ask, why this happened? Did I do something wrong? Who is right in this situation? You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you experienced something similar. So if this happens, please try to avoid all of this thinking. This is just garbage thinking that you don't need. It's just extra time wasted that you can put into productive things. For example, if someone curses you while you're driving, don't get mad like the typical alcoholic middle-aged man. Don't even think about it and move on immediately. Suffering, unless I give it a meaning through a purpose or a different perspective, it's really meaningless if you think about it. That's why rich kids are so happy, because they avoided pain all their life. It's just superfluous. It's a flaw of the universe. That's really what it is. Most anger gets suppressed as a child because you couldn't do anything at a specific moment, and unknowingly, for the rest of your life, even right now, you have a reaction to certain events that is abnormal, and you don't even realize it. This is, of course, a form of complex CPTSD. Do not suppress your anger. Keep it and use it for something productive. If you keep it burning in your heart, it will destroy you like a poison, and it can also make you age quicker. So I mandate you to use your anger. The only way to turn anger into something positive is to use it for something productive. Many people get carried away by fury and anger for small episodes that sometimes happen in the span of a day. And unknowingly, they spend weeks or months in a state of brain fog and negative reinforcement. This sounds familiar, I'm sure of it. This is what fucks people up. Negative reinforcement. It's that state where, it's unbearable to keep moving forward. It's unbearable to think about it, and to cope with it, you start drinking or taking drugs, right? You start drinking or smoking, and as soon as the high goes up, reaches the peak, it goes down, and you come back. And you come back at square one. Whereas when you're sober, well rested, and with clarity of mind, the solutions get thought out, analyzed, written, strategized, calculated, put into actions, and then solved. Also, people with ADHD are more prone to frustration and anger because when faced with a situation that seems insurmountable, they just don't know how to cope with it, not even logically or emotionally, and they lose their mind. Identify the factors that personally trigger you, and then identify the solutions that personally work for you, such as meditation, heavy breathing, or relaxation techniques. And stop saying that meditation is useless. It saved my life, look it up. Also, if the anger comes from a disagreement, it might be your fault. Yes, don't get upset or emotional, because we all have a spiritual component within ourselves called ego. This sort of voice or spirit that always wants to be right. It's like a set of values and pride about ourselves that always wants to be right, even if you're wrong. The key here is to not take things personally when things do not go our way, and just letting go. If you're not truly honest with yourself, your mind and your ego will want to match how your body feels and invent a story that technically justifies why you're angry, right? So be a strong man, avoid it. Also, sleep may be a cause. Sleep deprivation is the main cause of excessive thoughts and anxiety in your daily life, because anxiety might be caused by tiredness, and tiredness might lead to irritability, which leads to anger, right? Now, the key here is identifying who is at fault. When you get angry, you think instinctively and not logically. So you either immediately give the fault to the person or the thing that wronged you, or without even thinking about it, you start raging impulsively, like clenching your fists, and you start attacking, right? If the person is not a close relative, of course it will be easier because you can easily find a new group of friends. And if you don't have one, you can easily enter the group of the most sympathetic person that you know, and within 3 or 4 weeks, you go out with them each weekend, and you will start making new friends. Now, you either talk to this person and pacifically resolve your concern, or remove this person out of your life. And I don't mean not seeing him or her. I mean removing it completely out of your life. Because if you still keep in contact with this person, maybe you go out twice a week or once a month, what happens is that the days after the encounter, your mind will remember all the negative experiences you had with this person again. Remember, we are trying to remove the memory of this person so that eventually it will shrink into relevance and you won't think about it ever again. And that's how memory loss works. If the person is a close relative, until it becomes manipulation like physical abuse, I would advise to try to resolve the situation peacefully. There's no guarantee that you will solve the situation that way, but at least you won't have the regret of not trying. When you sense in a situation, because you can literally sense in your feelings, maybe you start breathing heavy, you start clenching your fist, that you're about to lose your cool. Take between 10 to 15 seconds to stop and remembering that if you lose it, the person who is trying to do this, which is your enemy, will win, because the enemy got exactly what he wanted. So don't give the enemy this satisfaction. Instead, get your revenge by avoiding losing to such a petty, irrelevant person. You listen to this person and you say nothing, you don't do anything, or maybe this person keeps talking shit and you say, okay, so, and your point? Are you okay with me? Is that okay? Because when you do this, the thought process that in the mind of the enemy will technically and logically lead you to lose their mind immediately stops, because the enemy and the thought process in the mind of the enemy does not know anymore what to do, and therefore you don't get mad, and maybe what who gets mad and frustrated is the enemy. This has happened to me several times when I learned to master this technique, and it's fucking awesome. The reward and the satisfaction for being a chilled out person and letting things go, It's awesome. And of course, if that's useful to you, you can even hold your breath for 10 or 15 seconds just to raise a little bit those serotonin levels, which is the hormone responsible for your own serenity and internal peace, so that the moment resolves itself. If the person is a close relative and you did not resolve the situation in a pacific way, unfortunately, until unless you find, let's say, a point in between, between pacifically resolving the situation and not, unfortunately, you have to remove this person out of your life. For example, if you have a very abusive father for 15 years and you still live at his house because you don't have anywhere to go and he keeps attacking you or some shit, you need to leave their house. Of course, this is just an example that illustrates the point, but I don't deny that some of you who are in very unfortunate situations might just have to take as much courage as you can and do the right thing, the strong choice. Removing your parents if necessary, your friends, your brother, your father out of your life completely. If your close relative don't want to solve the situation peacefully, either by talking with you or going to therapy together, there is a type of cognitive behavioral therapy which is family. If they don't want to do that, if they don't want to get help themselves, you have to become the man of the house and just leave. Speaking of rage and anger issues, it's also the same way to not get burned out. When you work too much or you're too stressed out, or both. You take care of yourself every single day, and you learn to take care of yourself every single day after months and years of failing to do so, because you have to fail so that you learn the details, the things that you have to remove from your life in order to repeat the process in a constant period of time. And after failing for a prolonged period of time, like months or years, you finally learn to master yourself and who you are. Like, can you work 12 hours a day? Can you work 10 hours a day without getting distracted or without having the need to go for a walk even for 15 minutes? Something like that. It's all connected. Can you go months without playing video games? Can you bear the sacrifices that are gonna be required along the way? You could be learning anything on the way to master yourself. For example, you could learn that after 12 hours a day of stressful work, the best reward for your mind and your dopamine system is to listen to music 2 hours a day before going to sleep. Maybe if you feel the specific need to listen to one specific song, then go ahead and do that for 2 hours. Or for example, you could learn that the one of the habits you formed during your teenage years of listening to music for 7 hours a day, intermittent times like lunch, dinner, after waking up, it's no longer useful because your heart, your mind, your dopamine system just needs 1 or 2 hours of listening to music per day, maybe before going to sleep, just to get high a little bit, and then that's it. Because contrary to popular belief, work-life balance is possible. Many call me out for farming negativity, but they don't know that actually I have a huge heart and compassion and empathy for people like you who had to overcome really, really bad stuff in their life. And I don't mean your seventh girlfriend broke up with you again, no. I mean truly dark stuff where you look for advice on the internet and you go to therapy, you talk to your friends or whoever, and it doesn't work. Like times where you have to be truly that desperate. Times where I had to create or forge my own advice, and now I share it with you so that you will hopefully skip this pain entirely. I sincerely hope, man, that you find this video useful. I tried to condense all the episodes that happened in my almost 24 years of life in a cohesive video. Hopefully I did a good job. If I didn't do a good job, please leave a dislike or tell me in the comments why. Am I boring? You don't like this style? Tell me everything because I really want to improve and make this channel great. Your advice for me is golden and I take it to heart. Don't be afraid to insult me or say something wrong. Just do it. I will always listen to your advice. Thank you for everything, my friend. Stay strong and peace out.